Well, it might be about time we start counting our lucky stars here because despite dropping off a little in the league and probably edging towards mid table with poor away form, we have had an FA Cup run that is beyond fortunate. We've got lower league opposition at home in the quarter final, and Wembley could well be on the way. Yes, hello, and welcome along to part 57 of the FM24 Head Coach with me, Daniel. We are back today with Bournemouth after an average spell in the league. We're winning our home games and we're struggling on the road. We've got Reading at home in the FA Cup quarter final and then a big away game in the league, and actually a pretty tough spell because we finished with a fair few away games this season, and the next of them is at Newcastle, who are directly below us, 3 points behind and with a better goal difference. So if they win it, they overtake us and it's back to mid-table. We've also got the likes of Palace and an underperforming Chelsea away from home soon, and we also faced Tottenham a couple of weeks ago where we got away with one, to be honest. So if you're looking forward to seeing if we do the same today, could it be a Wembley appearance in the FA Cup through a very fortunate run of draws? You can find out with me by putting a thumbs up on the video and sticking along for the next 25 minutes or so, because we're going to start by having a look at the schedule, see what's been going on at the club. We might even get our youth intake today as well. We'll wait and see. But let's start by having a look at what's been going on, because since you were here, it's been a bit of a mixed bag, to be honest. You were with me, I think, for the Forest game, weren't you? Where we played quite well, but managed to lose it. And it's a very clear pattern since. We've not won an away game. We've won all our home ones, but all of them fairly narrowly as well. We beat West Ham by 2-0. Leonardo with a penalty that was fairly fortuitous before we got a second via Siganov when they were attacking us. We then lost 3-0 away at Liverpool. Ben Doak with a brilliant goal to start things off for them. We did, though, then beat United at home with Siganov and Sergio Reguilon in at left wing back due to Doig's injury, popping up with a goal. You can see Fernandez pick one up early in that match too. We then got fairly fortunate as we drew League 2 Crawley in the FA Cup 5th round. They beat Championship Southampton on penalties, so I'm sure would have given us a tougher game. But we weren't great. Mark Steele had to play well, and Dominic Solanke saved us from the penalty spot. The 3-3 draw at Tottenham followed. We were poor. Evan Ferguson and Victor Gyökeres played up in a 3-5-2, and the two strikers caused us real trouble. At half-time, we were 3-2 down, but we never really got out of the game. We always found a way back. Jorge Smith got his first for the club, Leonardo got one just before the break, and Max Aarons crucially equalised just after it. We then followed up with a 1-0 win at home to bottom of the table Wolves. We were pretty poor in this game, but Alex Scott popped up with a big one. Wolves offered nothing going forward, but did quite often what we've done to other teams and just played to nick one of those 1-0s. In the end, though, fortunately, it was us to do so, and Karnazeki has been a star since being back in goal. So hopefully that's a sign of positivity moving forward. I am worried, as I've mentioned before, by the fact that we've only got 4 home games left in the league, 6 away ones. And a lot of those are against teams directly chasing us or above us. You've got Newcastle 1 place below, Chelsea underperforming but still with a good team. Palace can catch us with a win, Arsenal a 4th, Leicester a 6th, Everton a 5th. It's not a good run-in, so don't get overexcited about our position at the minute. The only positive to come from it is Bar City at home. Our other 3 are Hull, Leeds and Burnley, who are all battling against relegation. So hopefully that'll be 9 points and maybe an FA Cup semi-final on the way. To find out the answer to that, though, we've got to get through to the fixtures because it is Bournemouth versus Reading in the last 8 of the FA Cup. Lots of Premier League games going on while we're doing that. But you can't beat a cup run, can you? Reading have got the likes of Mike Trezor. Is that Andy Irvine? Surely not. It is Andy Irvine. Fair play to him. He's in there as well. They've also got a few players that are still original, so Tom McIntyre at the back being one of them. And they've done pretty well to recover in this save. So let's see what team we can put out today. Are we at the stage where we can go for rotation? I'm not sure we are. We struggled when we did that against Crawley. So we'll be back in a minute to run through the team, which will have to have 1 or 2 changes, but not as many as you're probably predicting. Right then, I think we've made 4 changes in total, one of which was enforced, and I'm thinking about midweek with some of the more experienced players basically and trying to preserve fitness, but still going as strong as possible here. We've stuck with our first choice goalkeeper because Mark Steele's had a lot of football this year due to injuries, and if we can win the cup and get to Europe, it'll get an awful lot more. The back three, we saw that we had one ineligible. Sturgew's back on the bench and will come on today, but Mendes is the man I've brought in from the start. We've stuck with Doigan Aaron's, but Fernandez is in for Adams, Scott switching box to box. The idea is that the 2 first teamers will do a bit of the game each. Fernandez is joined by Ferret Aslan out wide. The youngster gets a chance to play. Siganov gets a rest. And of course, Solanke gets a run up front, partly because we want to rest Leonardo and give Solanke a game, but also Leonardo's 1 yellow from a suspension, so we've got to be sensible with that. We have on the bench got a bit of an interesting situation though, because Gabriel Veron has been throwing his toys out the pram. He's 27 now. He's not featuring a lot from the start in fairness, but he is coming off the bench in most games. And he wanted to leave the club, so Mike Phelan has spoken to him and now accepted an offer from Brazil for him to go back for £17.5 million, which, given the club paid £7.5 million for him 4 years ago, it's not a bad deal really, is it? Never been really that close to the first team, had a few big moments for us, but this season of the wingers, particularly after Fernandez and then Aslan came in, he has been the weakest, so I kind of see that as a sensible deal. With this squad pick though, let's go and get through to the game. I'm tempted to put Rowlands on the bench for this one, and I might do in place of Veron actually, but my other thought is if he's going next week, should we just give Siganov a complete rest and we'll put Rowlands on for him? So with that one done, let's go and get through to the game. It is Bournemouth v Reading. We are the early game on TV. And of course, the Championship side will be looking to surprise us and make it to Wembley themselves. A big payday. As John Mousinho is out today as the manager. Who have they got on the bench? Anyone we recognise? Not many. They've got Elliot Richards and a couple of other lower league players, but otherwise a few youngsters padding it out there. But they've got a good team. They've got quality. They've obviously done well to get this far, or had a draw as lucky as ours. So let's go and get into the first half and see how we get on in this one. Bournemouth is the location. It's a pretty big crowd in as well. There's a chance to get to a Wembley Cup semi-final and really push towards a trophy, which would be a miracle. As we approach the 10-minute mark, it's been a quiet game again. And these are the games we saw against Crawley as well we tend to struggle with. Because we're not really a side built for being front-footed. We're built for discipline, solidity and nicking a goal. And when the onus is on us, it's a little bit more difficult because we're still trying to invite teams out, as you can see. Mendes picks the ball up at the back for Fernandez in midfield. He finds Scott. Solanke's making a run. Goes right to Aslan instead. And that ball in was good, but Solanke puts it wide. First good chance goes begging. Still not hit the target yet. 15 gone. It's goalless. Well, the Premier League scores were showing on the screen. No idea what they mean for the table, but there's not much affecting us going on today. As Casale gets inside to Aslan, and now Alex Scott. He's in the centre circle, finds Solanke, misses it, but it falls for Facundo Fernandez. It's a great save, tipped onto the bar. And I've got to be honest with Fernandez, he's a baffling one. He scored that hat-trick earlier in the year, didn't he? I can't remember who it was against now. Might have been away at Wolves, he scored 3. And apart from that, he's just not really looked a threat at all. He's had a quiet season. He's settling into a new country. That's fine. But just randomly turned up with one unbelievable game in the middle. As Doig cuts in from left wing back to Scott, you can definitely see we're the better team here. It's about how much do we get frustrated. Can we get the goal early enough? Scott into the back post. There he is on cue. Maybe I should talk him down a bit more. Facundo Fernandez scores it. I want to see how many he's scored since that hat-trick, because it can't be many. But he's popped up with a big one now. Yet there is only 3 goals for the club, and they all came in one game. It's such a baffling season. I'm going back on the form. None since December, so it must have been prior to that. And yeah, he's popped up with the odd assist. He's done okay, but just not stood out, and randomly pops up when it matters most. As Casale has got a free kick on halfway, I love to go 2 up just to be able to relax a bit, control possession more, as Fernandez finds his namesake and he gets it back to Mepham. Into Mendes at centre-half, that late January deadline day signing, finds Alex Scott. Can we get him a rest later on? It's back to Solanke. I don't know, he's not got his shooting boots on today, has he? Every shot has been blazed over or wide. And Leeds are beating United in the Premier League. That's a turn up for the books. As Jamide at the back brings it out for Reading to Andy Irvine. Tom McIntyre. Interesting. Oh my God. I was about to say interesting seeing original when they're doing well. What on earth was that? How is he getting blamed? It looked like a very regulation back pass. Let's watch this again. Tom McIntyre, is there anything wrong with this? No, I mean, look, it's between the whip for the goalpost, which you're advised not to do as a player, but still, it was a pretty tame back pass to the goalkeeper who just completely ignored it. And it's an absolute gift to finish the half for us. It's 2-0. And I told you at the start, didn't I? Lady Luck has been shining on us recently, and it's doing so again. I'm going to take a little bit of a risk here and actually rest a couple of players. So I'm going to take off. Alex Scott, I think, is one who we can give a break to. He'll come off for Damsgaard in midfield. We can even rest Adams for the whole 90 now. We're also going to go for, let me just check which way round there better. I think we're going to go for Sturgeon, who needs 45 minutes. Mepham or Casali, who struggles more? I think Mepham's more likely to start. So we'll go Sturgeon on for Mepham. Mendes to the right, Casali to the left. Unless, does Mendes care what side he is? He prefers the right as well. So we'll get him out there. And then what we'll do in another 15 minutes or so, we're winning comfortably. We'll get the wing backs off. We've got Bernat and Reguilon on the bench. And Solanke's just picked up a knock too. So no point taking a risk. I don't really want to risk getting Leonardo a booking. So I'm going to bring Veron in. What might be his final appearance for the club. Do I take out Fernandez first? But he's doing really well. No, I'm going to wait. We'll go wing backs first, I think. As we're back with the possession with Reading, but they've given it away. And now Gabriel Veron, final game is up front. Can he get a goal as a parting gift in an FA Cup quarter? Aslan back to Damsgaard is tipped onto the woodwork again. Hugo Cunha's had a great game back there. He goes out for a throw. We've got 2 changes remaining. And I think we're going to make them in a moment. I mean, it's not been a vintage performance by any means. We've not been brilliant, but we've done enough. Both of these struggle a bit, don't they? So let's get Aarons off for Burn. Let's get Reguilon on for Doig. And let's leave it at that for the final 25. We'll keep Fernandez on while he's having a good game. Let him have the chance to add to it as well. Because at the moment, bar a ridiculous own goal, he is the difference. And with 20 to go, Reading are showing no threat, and we've got a free kick with Reguilon to the back post, headed away. But is that a penalty on Facundo Fernandez? I think it is, you know. I've no idea who would take it, because it would be Leonardo, it would be Siganov, it would be Solanke. None of them are on. The penalty will be, who's that? Reguilon, number 13. Sergio Reguilon steps up. Has he scored for us? Maybe once. It's into the top corner. Oh, he scored in that United game, didn't he? And this is his second of the season. The Manchester United and an FA Cup quarter-final. He knows the big occasion too, doesn't he? 15 to go. It's been a comedy of errors from Reading. And we've had to do absolutely nothing to win this cup tie. But we are winning it. And due to an incredibly fortunate draw, it looks like we're going to the semi-final at Wembley. But 3 games in a row we've played lower league opposition. And all of them at home as well. As Jamai goes into midfield for Nias, it would be a bit early to get complacent here. 1 goal and you get a grandstand finish as Murillo looks wide to James on the right for them. Reguilon beaten, good ball in. Mendes chips away, but only as far as Nias. He's got it on the byline. Chance to cross, but goes back to McIntyre. Passes forward now after his horror show in the first half to Trezor. Blocks to Murillo and he's in for 3-1. Bit fortunate Reading there with the way the tackle deflected into the path of Murillo, but still, bit of poor defending, taking a few too many liberties. And as we go into 6 minutes of stoppage time, it was a bit of stress we could have done without. As 3 minutes in, it's Reading on the front foot. They're having a go now. Thompson back to Clark. It's into Murillo. Oh, God. It's 3-2. And now, from a very comfortable afternoon, I'm having to get all the time wasting stuff out. We're going to go for a classic 5-4-1. We're going to get 2 wingers on support. We know how that works. We're going to get 2 wing backs on defend. No need for any risk here at all. We have just got to make sure we're in the hat, because this, again, it's been a little bit of a frailty of ours recently. We've started surfacing some poor defensive displays, and it's definitely catching us out. We're going to play for set pieces, slow the tempo and time waste, And we're also going to slow it down when we get possession and drop off more when we're out of it. You all know how we work by now. Bernard put us a fullback on defend by mistake. That's what we wanted. We've got 3 minutes of stoppage time to go. And Reading have made a game of this. And now, if it wasn't for that ridiculous back pass and goalkeeper missing it, we would have been going to extra time. As it is, though, it is a 3-2 Bournemouth win. It is the next round of the FA Cup. We're into the semi-final. Let's see who we're facing. And of course, then we've got to face Newcastle, which might prove a little bit more tricky from the start. Well, we're back a couple of days earlier than planned because we've got a big youth intake preview. We've, of course, got the FA Cup draw later, but here's some excitement for the morning. Are we going to have any stars joining the academy this year? Not that I'm that worried because we'll probably be off from Bournemouth before too long. Let's see regardless, though. We have got... Yeah, it's a pretty average intake, isn't it? There's 2 players worth noting. Jeff Maloney, a goalkeeper. Poor composure, poor decision making. He's got a few good attributes, but none of them that are going to suit me. Not great playing out from the back or rushing out. Just very average. And then, interestingly, a Czech left back, Andre Bakker. He is also 1-star ability, 3.5 potential, but is the mix of attributes better? Well, this is quite an interesting one. He's not great defensively because his marking's appalling. He's not good in the air. He's not that composed, but physically he's miles off because he's only 15. He's probably one that will be quite interesting to see if he develops, but for me, nothing that's going to affect us before we leave this club. Just looking further down as well, there's one player with 2-star potential in Ellis, a striker who can't finish. There's another striker who can finish, who's got better current ability, but worse potential ability. You could see him being a good lower league or non-league striker in the future. There's really not much about, I've got to be honest. Let's hope the FA Cup draw is kinder to us than that. We'll be back in a minute for it, because there were a couple of big shocks on the way, as well as us getting through. Hull City have beaten Arsenal, the Champions League quarter-finalists. Everton and Newcastle's pretty evenly matched, but none of the elite top 4. We've got Spurs and Everton, who are around us in the league, and Hull, who I think are in a championship. No, they're 16th in the Premier League, so this is an open FA Cup. We've got a chance, you know. Well, on the same day, more news because Gabriel Veron has agreed to leave the club, made his final appearance in that quarter-final at the weekend, and now moves back to Brazil for 17.5 million. It represents a big profit for the club, and for a pretty average player who didn't want to be here, you've got to say Mike Phelan's done the job again, albeit some of it's going to Porto. And we finish a hectic Monday with an FA Cup draw, and as it's only 4 teams, we might as well view it, mightn't we? Should we start the draw at 3x speed? We'll watch it properly this time. Hull City, please, would be the preference, but Everton are out first, and they are drawing. Will it be us? Bournemouth? No, it's Tottenham. It's Bournemouth v Hull for a place in the FA Cup final. We've got our wish, and we've come out as the away team, but at Wembley, that doesn't matter too much. We can't ask for a bigger opportunity to reach an FA Cup final, can we? It's Gary O'Neill v myself, it's Bournemouth v Hull, and again with a stronger side. I mean, you look at our FA Cup run this year. The third round was the hardest game, I would say. We had Brighton, who are 13th in the Premier League. We then played West Brom of the Championship at home. We played Crawley of League 2 at home and Reading of the Champ at home. We've actually not had an away game prior to going to Wembley. And Hull City are a side at the bottom of the Premier League who are scrapping for their lives. This is really an opportunity for us. But for now, the focus is on the league. We'll be back in a minute to face Newcastle. Well, given the run-in of away games that we talked about earlier, this is both a big game and probably a decisive one in a race for the final European spot by the league. Because what we've established is that unless Everton win the FA Cup, the European place for the league that would have gone to 7th or 8th is now going to go certainly to the FA Cup winner. And if that's not us, which we've got a chance of being, then it's probably going to take 7th or above in the league. So let's go and get through as Sturgeon is fit for today. We are coming up against the side directly below us with a better goal difference and a 3-point deficit. So if they win, we will be 8th today. Palace are at Spurs. Either way, one of those 2 below are going to close the gap. And if Chelsea can beat Liverpool, we'll make the title race interesting and close the gap to us further. So not much to get excited about at the minute, as Newcastle have still got a very good side. Bruno Guimaraes and Sandro Tonali in the midfield. Tierney and Livramento the fullbacks with Ramsdale in goal. Botman's still there. Konate's a star up front. We all know the quality of the team by now. So let's go and get through to the team selection and see what is recommended. I'm going to take Mendes back out for Sturgeon, who is fit and should be available wherever he is. There. Rollins will drop off the bench for Schmidt, who will probably come in for Casale, who's not been quite as good recently. We're also going to bring back in Tyler Adams. Both wingers are struggling for fitness. I'm going to have to start Fernandes, but we'll bring in Siganov. He would have started anyway. But it just shows you the problems we've got with fatigue and fitness in this squad. There's not enough depth to really rotate. Leonardo is backing up front for Solanke. Is that first choice? I'm pretty sure it is. But Facundo Fernandes is not in great shape. And again, although we've got a bit of time off after this, we've got players going on international duty. So from tomorrow, he'll be away and playing yet more games. This is where the risk of injuries increase, as we saw in Sunday's experiment. But this is the 11 we're going for today. Back to full strength for the Premier League. Is Karnazeki keeping his place in goal? But in front of him, both Sturgeon and Schmidt return. They come in for Mendes and Casale. We've brought Leonardo in up front for Solanke. We've brought Adams back in midfield for Fernandes, with Scott switching back to the playmaker. Siganov in the right for Aslam, and a tired Fernandes keeping his place on the left. Let's submit the team for Newcastle away. I've got a bad feeling about this one. Well, it's 5 changes for our host today, and look who's in charge. Mr. Lion Jurgen, you said you'd never manage another English side again. Unbelievable. Smith Rowe, Colwell, Vicario amongst those that drop out, and Isaac. Blimey. It's not a bad squad, is it? Miley and Skip on the bench as well. I mean, both of their goalkeepers are probably better than our starter. But let's pump the fist, because we've got nothing to lose. And if we can find our solid defensive displays again, with Sturgeon back, with Schmidt in as well, then maybe we've got a chance of nicking one of those ugly 1-0s. But for now, we've seen our recent away form. We can see goals as Konate and Botman, 3 headers from a set piece there. That one's wide of the post though. We get away with it for now. Not the most promising of starts though, as Karnazeki, big kick out towards the left. Fernandes will chase it. Not quite got that fitness he normally does though, as Adams nicks it back in midfield. Oh, we've seen his passing range. I'll tell you what, he's been transfer listed now because it was requested. Is that offside? It was requested in the backroom advice meeting because he said he's going to leave at the end of his contract, which is just over a year away. And I wouldn't mind an upgrade in there because technically he gives the ball away so much. Physically he's supposed to be a monster, but he gets knackered in every game after an hour. And he is passing 30 now as well. So could see that being a good move for both parties. But with 8 gone, we've been let off the hook after a warning sign. And now we've got to keep pushing as Botman finds Bruno Guimaraes. He's got a man out wide. It's nicked by Doig, but no, he's giving it away again. McCreenor's in, hits the post, and Aaron's all clear. Big ball downfield, but we're living very dangerously. And it looks like the inevitable is coming. It's a matter of time now. As on the right again, Bruno finds Tierney, out to Mikel. Off the left, Aaron's can't win it. It's gone back to Botman. Back to Mikel on the left again. Aaron's with a good tackle. Can we break? Can we nick them on the counter? It's a big hoof forward. Leonardo's onto it. Keeper flies out. Ramsdale's missed it. Siganov, open goal. Victor Siganov scores. How about that? 9 minutes gone. We should be 3 down. And we go 1-0 up after scoring for an open goal. The comedy of errors against us continues. It was Tom McIntyre last time. It was a stupid penalty as well. And this time it's Ramsdale giving us the open goal. A Siganov down the right. Can it give us confidence now? Almost didn't need to. Botman slices a ball into the box. Almost finds the back of his own net. And this time Ramsdale saves the day with a very good save. Siganov with a corner though. Schmidt's up. And it's away as far as Konate. We might be in trouble now. We have got 2 back with 2 more flying alongside. But Newcastle are trying to break clear. Livramento into the opposition half. We get away with it. We've scored with our only shot on goal. I'm questioning the XG here because it says 0.01. Are you telling me that a pass into an open goal from 25 yards is a 0.01 chance of a goal? I think it would go in more than 1 in 100. As Tierney's got a throw on the left for Veloso. Let's worry about our defending again. Up goes Tonali. It's in for 1-1. I mean, I cannot argue with the fact they deserve that, can I? I mean, I'd absolutely bite your arm off for a draw now. I'd be very thrilled. But that's come very early for us to worry about that. As Newcastle have got the ball again. I mean, they're camped in our half, away from home. We just cannot find a solution. I might have to dig out one of those other tactics again. Livramento puts Veloso in, 2 in the middle. It's cut back for Tierney on the edge though. He hits the post. Mikel blocked on the rebound. Veloso in. Is that onside? It is. Oh dear. Where has our defensive form gone away from home? Tyler Adams blamed for that one as well. Bless him. He is not having a good spell, is he? Fernandes will come off at the break. Adams might go with him. But at half time, it is 2-1 to Newcastle. And let's be honest, we've created nothing in this game. We've had one big error that's given us a chance. Fernandes will be replaced by Damsgaard. I'm going to go for... Well, it's got to be Ezekiel Fernandes. Is the only other one. Scott will switch roles again. And that's what we're going to do for the second half. It stays 2-1 Newcastle. They've put on Skip, Calabria and Smith Rowe. Not a bad lot of players to introduce, is it? Siganov has suffered a bruised shin. I think we can risk him for a bruise for now. He's now picked up a yellow card. And we might have to think about some changes. And we're going to. 25 left. We're going to take Sturgeon off, who needs to be rested, doesn't he? Schmidt will stay on, actually. We'll put Casale in the middle of the 3. Doig will be replaced at left wing back by Region. Nothing else, he can take a penalty. And then Aslan will come on for Siganov and get through another 25 minutes. I don't think we're going to get anything out of this game. And I think we will inevitably drop to 8th. But the good news we've got is that Palace are drawing at Spurs. Chelsea are drawing with Liverpool. They're good results for us. Albeit Spurs have just gone 2 up, which means they closed the gap, but Palace can't. So with 5 minutes remaining, Liverpool have gone ahead as well. Bar losing the place to Newcastle, it's not been a bad night for us. It's a narrow defeat. We've gone attacking and it's made no difference in the stoppage time. It's a 2-1 defeat. It's a decent effort, but let's be honest, away from home, we're a little bit all over the shop at the minute. So we're going to praise the lads. We're going to do what we can, keep the spirits high in the group. Newcastle up to 5th, we're down to 8th. Look at that though, 4th to 8th separated by 1 point. Palace and Spurs now the same just below us. Palace would have been 1 behind if they'd won that game. But Spurs, looking at their goal difference, a side may be capable of finishing strong and might end up pushing us back down to the same place we were last year. We've mentioned we've got a lot of the tough away games coming up now, which is maybe why the form is dropping off on the road. If we go and have a look at the schedule, it's not Premier League football we've really got to focus on now. Mid-table mediocrity is fine. We have got a chance, and a real chance, at an FA Cup final. We're going to come back for the whole semi-final and one of the games either side of it, because Palace are just below us and Arsenal are just above. So we'll see where we are in 3 weeks, because yes, we're away at Chelsea, but then we've got 2 of the, on paper, easier home games before then. And then the last month of the season is pretty awful on paper, with a whole win expected, and then 3 very tricky ones against the top 6. So that's what we're going to be focusing on now. Hull and one of the away games, and then hopefully an FA Cup final to finish the season. And if we can get to that and do well with Bournemouth, I might then do a runner, because I don't think it's going to get any better than that. The finances are creeping down again, albeit still 35 to 40 million better than last year. So if you're looking forward to seeing how this season finishes and whether or not our lucky FA Cup run continues, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. We've been mediocre in the league, we're going to be mid-table, but what a fortunate run in the cup. Let me know in the comments if you think we'll reach the final and or win it or not, because it's open. There's 4 teams who will fancy their chances, and we're going to try and be one of them. We've definitely, though, got the best of the semi-finals on paper. If you want to stay up to date and see what happens, subscribe and turn that notification bell on. Keep your eyes peeled this weekend, as well as the return of Southend tomorrow for a massive summer transfer special. We've then got one of the most niche experiments you'll ever see on Sunday. I'm going to be talking about a potential curse in FM24. So hopefully you're looking forward to that. You can find links to all the other playlists, the Twitch channel, the guides, and the football podcast up in the eye above. But thank you very much for being here, for watching along as always. And I'll see you back here next time as we head to Wembley for the first time in an FA Cup semi-final.